We're going to go ahead and call the Schaumburg Village Board meeting to order for Tuesday, November 10th, 2020. First item on the agenda, actually, I guess first is if you have a cell phone, if you happen to be on Zoom and you're not muted, please turn your cell phone off. If you're here, we appreciate it if you turn it down. Thank you. Next item is the roll call. If the clerk will please call the roll.
Trustee Kozak.
Here.
Trustee Conley.
Here.
Trustee Sullivan.
Present.
Trustee Dunham.
Here.
Trustee Madej.
Present.
Trustee Bishke.
Present.
Okay. So just want to note that Trustee Conley is participating via Zoom. Can you see us? We can see you.
Yes, I can see all of you. Thank
Okay.
you.
All right. So other than that, we'll go to the Pledge of Allegiance, and I'm going to ask if Trustee Kozak would mind leading us in a Pledge of Allegiance.
Please rise. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Excuse me. Thank you, Trustee Kozak. Next item is approval of minutes for October 27, 2020. Any questions, comments?
Motion to approve is presented. Second.
Motion and a second to approve. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Kozak.
Aye.
Trustee Conley. Trustee Sullivan.
Aye.
Trustee Dunham.
Aye.
Trustee Madej.
Aye.
Trustee Bishke.
Aye.
6 ayes, no nays, motion carries. Next item is the approval of expenditures for the amount of $3,727,105.23.
Move to approve the expenditures as presented.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the expenditures as presented. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Kozak.
Aye.
Trustee Conley.
Aye.
Trustee Sullivan.
Aye.
Trustee Dunham.
Aye.
Trustee Madej.
Aye.
Trustee Bishke.
Aye.
6 ayes, no nays, motion carries. Thank you. Next item is liquor license requests. The first one is a request from Mr. Matt Farrell for one Class A liquor license for Egg Harbor Cafe, located at 1310 American Lane. It's a new license. Do we have someone here from there? Ah, you're up on Zoom. Okay. All right. So let me ask Matt, if this is a new license, I assume you're not making any changes to the facility?
That's correct.
Okay. Just change in ownership?
There's no change in ownership either. It's just adding an option to the menu.
Oh, okay. All right. Any questions from the board? No? Okay. Hearing none, then the next step for you would be to somewhere during normal working hours to approach the village president's office, which is also the liquor commissioner's office upstairs, and pick up whatever paperwork is necessary to apply for the license change and complete that as necessary. Once background check and whatever else needs to be done, you'll be issued the license. Okay?
Great.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next item is a request from Mr. Gary Zipfel, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, gentleman right here, for one Class A liquor license for X Golf Schaumburg, located at 1100 American Lane, new license. Okay, so again, same type of question, is making any changes that you're planning for that location?
So we're in the process of the due diligence process.
You can go ahead and come on up here, that's fine.
We're in the due diligence process for purchasing the building, the Punch Bowl building. We will be doing some remodeling on the interior. It's this is golf simulators, so they're very large boxes. So the bars and such are there will be replaced by simulator bays. We're planning to go with the first floor only at first. So phase one will be 8 bays on the first floor. Hopefully next summer, depending on how well the business goes, we'll open the second floor with 8 more bays.
Okay, sounds good. Questions, comments from Trustee Dunham?
Is it still going to be a restaurant business as well?
We do what you would call golf course food. So it's an air fryer. There's chicken tenders and fries and pizzas, but it's definitely not a gastropub as it was in the past.
Keeping the roll-up doors?
The plan is to, currently is to seal those. So the sunlight is bad for the simulators because it's a projector system. And so the back of the bays will be where those doors are. There's a small maintenance gap. So the plan is to seal those doors and potentially put signage or advertising on them.
On the inside?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Other questions?
For food service, what do you do? Wait staff brings the food that people order to the buffets themselves? You don't have any bar or anything like that?
There is a bar, but it's generally a waiter or a waitress will bring the food or the drinks over to each individual bay. The bays are about 12 feet apart between the tables. So if you're thinking about it from a COVID lens, it's already fairly social distanced. The maximum number of people in a bay is 6. You use your own clubs. You don't have to touch the ball. It comes out of the ground automatically. And so we feel like it's a safe environment. It's not going to be, if you're thinking about it from the jobs lens, it's not going to be tons of jobs, possibly 6 or 8 or 10.
Thank you.
I do have another question.
Sure, Trustee Dunham.
Is there, you say that you're supposed to bring your own clubs. Do you have clubs for rent or for use?
We do rent clubs, but I currently work with Nick at the Libertyville X Golf, and our experience there is about 95% of the people bring their own. It's generally fairly avid golfers, but we will have rentals.
Where is it in Libertyville?
Just south of Milwaukee, 1177 South Milwaukee.
Where the Baker Square used to be that just closed.
Export, right next door.
Other questions, comments? No? Okay. As I explained to Mr. Farrell from Egg Harbor, the liquor license or liquor commissioner's office is upstairs here. You can return during normal business hours and complete whatever paperwork is necessary for the operation, new license, and go through any background check, et cetera, and all that through the police department. And then once you pass all that, then a liquor license is issued.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Is there a similar process for doing the interior renovation and demo?
No, you don't come here. You'll go strictly through staff on that.
Okay.
And if it's an allowed use for there, it's not a problem. It's just a permit process. If you were making major changes to the building, you know, you might end up having to go through a committee to get reviewed. But typically, if it's just more internal type operation, it's just through a permit process.
All right. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. And you don't have to stay if you don't want to.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Next item is consent agenda. I will read the consent agenda. The village clerk, Marilyn, she was thinking she was getting a night off.
Yeah.
We'll read the consent agenda in its entirety. It will be voted on in one motion to approve. If you wish to discuss an item further, please indicate that when the item is read so that it can be removed from the consent agenda and discussed further under committee reports. Otherwise, all items will be approved as presented on the consent agenda in one motion. And will the clerk please read the consent agenda?
Number 1, correspondence. A, the motion would be to approve the request from Community Association Institute Illinois chapter to hold a raffle on November 13th, 2020, virtually at 1821 Walden Office Square, Suite 100, and to waive the fidelity bond requirement. B, the motion would be to approve the request from Church of the Holy Spirit to hold raffles on November 1st to 30th, 2020 at Church of the Holy Spirit, 1451 Bodie Road, and waive the fidelity bond requirement. 2, proclamations. A, Veterans Day, November 11th, 2020. B, American Indian Heritage Month, November 2020. 3, Health and Human Services Committee. The motion would be to refer the 2019 Community Development Block Grant, CDBG, Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report, CAPER, to the Plan Commission for review and comment at a public hearing. For Transportation Committee, the motion would be to approve a resolution authorizing the village manager to execute a grant agreement by and between the Village of Schaumburg and the Illinois Department of Transportation for the I-90 Transit Access Study. 5, Planning, Building, and Development Committee. The motion would be to authorize the village manager to execute a contract extension with GovTemps USA of Northbrook, Illinois, in a total amount not to exceed $70,935 for interim building plan review services for the Community Development Department through April 30th, 2021. B, the motion would be to allow temporal displays in the village right-of-way without village intervention for 2020, except for safety hazards, that staff document the displays with photos and reports, and that the matter be brought back to the Planning, Building, and Development Committee in April.
Could the clerk indicate I vote no on that?
Thank you. 6, Plan Commission. The motion would be to approve a setback variation accessory structure pool at 1111 Cloverdale Lane. 7, Project Review Group. The motion would be to approve a site plan amendment building addition for Galaxy Circuits LLC, 1651 Mitchell Boulevard. 8, award a bid. The motion would be to award the bid for Fortinet network equipment to the lowest responsive bidder, ACP Creative IT of Buffalo Grove, Illinois, and authorize issuance of a purchase order in the amount of $140,638.83. 9, resolutions. The motion would be to adopt as Resolution R20-093, authorizing the village manager to execute a grant agreement by and between the Village of Schaumburg and the Illinois Department of Transportation for the I-90 Transit Access Study. B, the motion would be to adopt as Resolution R20-094, authorizing the village manager to execute a professional services agreement with GovTemps LLC to provide interim staffing for the position of building plan examiner. 10, ordinances. The motion would be to waive first reading and adopt as ordinance number 20-092, granting a setback variation, accessory variation pool, 1111 Cloverdale Lane. B, the motion would be to adopt as ordinance number 20-093, granting a site plan amendment, building addition for Galaxy Circuits LLC, 1651 Mitchell Boulevard. C, the motion would be to waive first reading and adopt as ordinance number 20-094, an ordinance of the Village of Schaumburg, Cook and DuPage Counties, Illinois, annexing certain property owned by the Village of Schaumburg, south of Irving Park Road and west of Rodenberg Road. D, the motion would be to waive first reading and adopt as ordinance number 20-095, proposing the establishment of Verde Estates Special Service Area 1, Verde Estates Subdivision, in the Village of Schaumburg, Cook and DuPage Counties, Illinois, and providing for a public hearing and other procedures in connection therewith. This concludes the consent agenda.
Thank you. Look for a motion to approve the consent agenda as has been read.
So moved.
The
Second.
motion, and I'm sorry, who was the second? Jack?
Jack.
Thank you, Trustee Sullivan. Motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as read. Any further comments? We do have one item. Trustee Bischke, on item 5 under Planning, Building, Development, B,
Item B. Yeah.
is a no.
Yeah.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Kozak.
Aye.
Trustee Conley. Trustee Conley?
Sorry, yes.
Okay.
I vote yes.
Okay. Trustee Sullivan?
Aye.
Trustee Dunham?
Aye.
Trustee Madej?
Aye.
Trustee Bischke?
Aye.
6 ayes, no nays, except for that one item. Motion carries. Thank you. Committee reports. Zoning Board of Appeals. We have an item here that's a recommendation to approve an amendment to municipal code pertaining to temporary use and structure regulations for portable storage units in residential districts. And the motion came from the Zoning Board to deny this item. So, Chairman Raimondi, do you want to give us a little quick background here, please?
Harry Raimondi, Chairman, Zoning Board. Yeah, when we looked at this, we thought that there would be better control because the motion that, or what was presented to us was that there would be no permits for the storage units or dumpsters that are put in residential. And for 45 days is what they're allowed. Well, our thought was that if you don't know when it was put there, and just by happen driving by, or somebody's going to call in and say that there's one in the neighborhood. So the feeling by the zoning board was that we should continue with the permit, and there was only, I think it's only averages about 39 a year, so say 3 a month, that we would have to basically get permits, and at least we have some control, or at least have an idea where they're at and when they're put in and when they should take them down. That's
Okay.
pretty much it.
Thank you. Questions, comments from the board?
Yes.
Trustee Dunham.
Harry, is this, are we talking about pods or something?
Pods, the storage, yeah, the temporary storage units, the pods and dumpsters.
I see. Do we charge for those permits?
As far as I know, yes. I think it's a minimal charge, so.
Somebody have staff comment on this too, but anyone else from the board first, or you want to hear from staff? Trustee Kozak.
Was there any discussion as to whether there could be 1 or 2 on a driveway? No. You know, the biggest part was where the placement was. So therefore, you know, if someone from the village drove by and it wasn't in the right location, at least if there's a permit pulled and they know what day it's going to come, then the staff would come over and say, okay, it's got to be in the right place, here's where it's got to go, or whatever. So that's the other thing too, placement of.
Okay. Other quick questions? Otherwise, I'm going to ask Julie.
I
Go
just
ahead.
have one question.
Yes.
Are most of the, and I guess the question is, Julie, are most of the permits pulled because they know in advance and they pull the permit? Or are a portion of those ones where we're driving by or someone reports them and then we go out and that's when the clock starts?
So I can go ahead and start answering. Trustee Conley, we don't keep track of the percentage that are kind of caught, you know, by inspectors driving around, but that certainly does happen. And when we do catch that, unless there is some type of evidence, like for example, a neighbor complains and shows us a picture that's date stamped saying it was up previously, we would start the 45 days from the day that we became aware that it was on the driveway. So if you have any other questions, President Daly, or if you just want me to give a summary, I'm happy to do either.
One more time.
Well, we've got everything before us, but let me have Trustee Kozak wants to ask another question here, but I think we know it's pretty straightforward, but go ahead.
We're talking pods strictly right now, Julie. What if a resident comes up and go ahead and rents one of them storage trailers now, ones that's not painted or something like that, and just drops it? I mean, they can rent them in 20, 30, 40, 50 feet and drop it on a driveway. Are them allowed?
Well, we call these pods, but really this is any kind of portable storage unit. I think that that pod is just kind of the term that most people use. We do have size requirements. They can be 8 by 16 is the largest. So regardless of the brand that's used, it would be 8 by 16 feet. They cannot encroach onto the sidewalk and they have to be on a paved surface. And the recommendation isn't to change any of those standards, just to eliminate the need for the permit. The other question that was asked is whether there's a fee for the permit. There is not a fee for the permit.
So to clarify, currently there is no fee to be paid for the permit.
Correct.
Okay. So will this cover also dumpsters?
No, dumpsters are separate, and they're typically permitted with a construction project during the duration of the project.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I just want to make sure we were clear on that. Strictly storage. Okay. Other questions from the board?
So if I could, I'd just like to make a couple of comments on this. This initiative actually came before the PVD committee and the village board previously and was recommended for approval. It's part of a multi-year initiative that we've been working with all departments on to try and streamline some processes and reduce bureaucracy within the village organization. This was something that was offered up by staff as a potential to facilitate the process for residents and reduce some of the red tape that they may have to go through to obtain one of these permits.
Thank you. Yes.
Question for Julie.
Chairman,
Weren't dumpsters included in this also? I thought they were. Dumpsters and pods.
It's temporary portable storage units.
Well, temporary use structure regulations for portable storage units. Well, I thought it was the dumpsters too, because I think that was discussed at our meeting, so. Okay.
It's not included in the ordinance change that's proposed.
Okay.
Further questions, comments? Anything else? So the motion before us is to deny, basically no longer requiring a permit for this. Is that correct?
Correct.
That is correct. That's the only.
Okay,
the
that's
only
really all.
change.
That's really all we're looking at. There's nothing else. It doesn't change what sizes can be out there or any of that. You know, how long they can be there. Nothing like that. It's just a requirement for whether or not staff would have to make sure that there's a permit out there for it. That's all.
And so then this is a recommendation that's before the board. So the board needs to take action through a motion, and the motion could be to either accept the recommendation from the ZBA, which would end the matter if it passed, or to reject the recommendation from the ZBA if the board is inclined to follow the staff recommendation. If it's the latter, then the motion could include also a motion to waive first reading and adopt as the ordinance, and we can figure that out if that's the way it goes.
Correct. Okay. Does everybody understand? Trustee Madej.
So my question here is, if now that you know dumpsters are not part of this, do you think the zoning recommendation would be different? No. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yeah, this
Yes.
is Marge. Reading the testimony at the zoning board, I can understand their concern, because their concern is if one of these storage units is placed and then after 4 weeks, 6 weeks, whatever, the neighbors become upset with it, if you will, because it's been there for a while, and we then go out, it will be hard for us to know exactly, we could ask the resident who placed it there for the receipt that showed when they got it, but I don't see that they'd have to do that. And so then if the 45-day clock started, it could be there for an extended period of time, 2 or 3 months. It's not like this is a strenuous type of permit for us to handle. Although I know we instructed staff to look for ways to make ourselves easier to do business with, I find myself agreeing with the zoning board that we should just go ahead and continue with the permitting process.
Other comments from the board? No? So I'm looking for a motion.
A motion to concur with the zoning board's recommendation.
I'm sorry, who's second?
Kozak?
Trustee Kozak. Okay, so the motion is to concur with the recommendation from the zoning board, which is to deny the staff recommendation to eliminate the permit process. Any further discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Kozak.
Aye.
Trustee Sullivan.
Aye.
Trustee Conley.
Aye.
Trustee Dunham.
Aye.
Trustee Madej.
Aye.
Trustee Bishki.
Aye.
6 ayes, no nays, motion carries with the denial. We have there's no need for the ordinance then? Okay. That's all under committee reports. Comments from the audience? Have anyone from the audience here first? We have one person. No. Okay. Anyone on the Zoom wishing to speak? I believe you have the ability to chat. Raise your hand. Show us your face. Well, wait a minute. Okay, doesn't look like it. We'll move on. Council report.
All I have, Mayor, and thank you, is to continue with our regular motions to extend the village president's proclamation declaring a local state of emergency originally made on March 20th, 2020, until the adjournment of the next regular meeting of the Village of Schaumburg Board of Trustees, which will be in December.
Move this stated.
Second.
Motion and a second. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Kozak.
Aye.
Trustee Conley. Trustee Conley.
Aye.
Trustee Sullivan.
Aye.
Trustee Dunham.
Aye.
Trustee Madej.
Aye.
Trustee Bishki.
Aye.
Thank
6
you. That's
ayes.
all I have.
No nays, motion carries. President's report. I do have one item. I hope I'm not taken away from the village manager, but I did participate along with Brian Townsend, village manager, listening to or watched and listened to a presentation online today. Schaumburg received 3rd place in the Digital Cities Award, which is up from 7th place we were in last year. So that's a nice good jump. Obviously, they've worked pretty hard at it, and the Digital Cities Group recognized it, and that's for municipalities under 75,000. They had a bunch of other awards for different stages going up, and so it's a pretty good company, I think, in what we were out there. They listed the top 10, and of course we came in 3rd, so very good. That's all I have. Manager's report.
Thank you. I have one item this evening that necessitates board action. As the members of the board are aware, the village issued bonds recently to fund 2 initiatives. One, the North Schaumburg TIF, and some infrastructure improvements that were implemented there, as well as funding for Vital Streets program projects, which are funds that we typically use local funds to leverage federal dollars to help minimize the burden on Schaumburg residents and Schaumburg taxpayers. On October 6th, those bond sales took place. We were very happy with the results, and those are specified here in the packet, so I won't go over them in detail. Normally, the village engages in a competitive sale for its bond issues, but because of market conditions and recommendations of our financial advisors, we entered into a negotiated sale that was based on parameters that the board had previously approved or adopted by ordinance, and so we're reporting the results this evening and ask that they be accepted by the village board.
Okay.
I'd be happy to take any questions that the members of the board may have.
Questions? No. Look for a motion to concur with the recommendation.
So moved to concur.
Second.
Motion and a second. Will clerk please call the board?
Trustee Kozak.
Aye.
Trustee Conley.
Aye.
Trustee Sullivan.
Aye.
Trustee Dunham.
Aye.
Trustee Madej.
Aye.
Trustee Bishki.
Aye.
6 ayes, no nays, motion carries. Thank you.
Just one other item related. I'd like to express my appreciation and thanks to Lisa Peterson and Paul Houston for their efforts in working on these bond issues and the successful outcome that the village achieved. So thank you very much.
Okay. New business. We have no items under new business, no items under unfinished business. Trustee comments or mentions? Anything this evening? Nope. Okay.
10:45 tomorrow, correct?
Yes, so there is a good point. There is a Veterans Memorial Service tomorrow. It starts at 10:45 at the Clock Tower at Town Square. If you can be there, be nice to have you there. It's not a very long ceremony, but a very important one. So thank you very much for a reminder on that. We will have an executive session this evening in accordance with Section 2, subsection C, 11 of the Open Meetings Act, litigation. It's when an action against or affecting or on behalf of the particular public body has been filed and is pending before a court or administrative tribunal, or when the public body finds that an action is probable or imminent, in which case the basis for the finding shall be recorded and entered into the minutes of the closed meeting. Okay, so we'll be going, adjourning and going into executive session with no return, I assume.
That is correct. We will not return and we will not take any action. So at the conclusion of the closed session, the regular meeting will stand adjourned.
Okay. Anyone, any comments? Look for motion.
Move to adjourn to executive session as presented.
Second.
Motion and a second to adjourn to executive session is presented. Will clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Kozak.
Aye.
Trustee Conley.
Aye.
Trustee Sullivan.
Aye.
Trustee Dunham.
Aye.
Trustee Madej.
Aye.
Trustee Bishke.
Aye.
6 ayes, no nays, motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you.